In today's video, we are writing 4 numbers to the 4 corners of the screen. I chose this to be the first problem of this channel because it was actually the first problem that I solved when I was about 10 or 11 years old. If you're curious how my 11-year-old daughter solved this problem, check out the link in the description. The general flow of this problem is this one. We need to read 4 integers. We need to print first one in the top left corner, the second one in the top right, third one in the bottom left, and the fourth one in the bottom right. Now, we're going to do this in a terminal window, in this case, or in the console. That means we need to be able to somehow go and position the cursor first to the top left corner, then print out that integer, then to the top right, and so on. Well, it turns out it's not easy in Java to write to a certain position in the console. So after a bit more Googling, I found out this class, which is from the Washington State University. And basically it gives us a helper class where we can write to a predefined console of 25 rows and 18 columns. And we can easily specify a location on the screen in the sense that either a row and a column is specified. And we're going to use this one to actually output the string at that given location. I just downloaded this class and I put it in my project here, and it's called the console. So I'm going to use this one for this video. Given this class, the helper class console, we're going to have the 4 corners of the screen at the following coordinates. So the top left corner will be position 0, 0. The top right corner will be position, first one is the row, so 0 and the column 79. The bottom left corner, well, they say it's only 24 rows that are allowed. And the last one is a special row which we cannot write into, so it's going to be the 23rd 0, and the last one will be 23rd 79, so the bottom right corner. So what we need to do here is basically just implement this. Let's see how this works. So first one will be, let's read 4 numbers. We define this, we'll do this with a scanner. We need to specify the input source, so in this case it will be system in. And now we're going to read the 4 numbers. So just print out something like input integer 1, and then we have it. And then we read it from the scanner. And then we do the same thing for the other ints. So once we have these 4 inputs, now we're going to try to start writing them out in the 4 corners. So the first one should be quite simple. First, let's instantiate this console helper class. So it would be, no, it's not the Java IO console, it's just the console in this class, which I put in the same package as here. And then on the console we have this method which helps us either go to XY, which will move the cursor to that position, or better yet, we can use this method, which is print string at. So what do we want to print? Well, we want to print in this case a string, so int1 is not a string, we need to make it a string. So we'll see, this will help us a bit later. But for now, let's just do it like this. And the top left position will be 0, 0. Let's compile this. it's not compiling because the int cannot be converted to a string. Well, the simplest way to convert an int to a string is just concatenate it to an empty string. We can do other conversions, but this one is pretty straightforward. And because we need to run this in a console, we need to actually run it outside of IntelliJ. So for that I have a terminal here. And we should resize this window to be 80 by 25. So that's what the console expects. And now we can just run the program to see what happens. So we're running it in a command line like this, Java, and then the name of the class. So we have to input the four numbers. And okay, what happened here is we printed a string, but we did not refresh the console. So this console implementation expects a print screen at the end. So once you've done all the modifications on the console, you need to print out that screen, otherwise it's not visible. So let's actually skip these for now, the scanner next in, because I don't want to input it every single time. So just for the sake of speed, I'm going to just put some hard-coded values just until we go debugging this a bit more. These are just some values that I choose so that we can get running. Obviously, when the program will be finished, then we're going to read the actual values from the scanner. We'll see in a bit what happens if we have other numbers, so maybe longer and so on, so just bear with me. So compile it, run it again. Okay, something happened here, but we don't see the output. So, interesting. Okay, so apparently we need to start with a cursor on a new line. That's why this print line was needed. So we don't actually output on the end of a certain line, so we just start with a caret positioned at the beginning of the line. Anyway, let's move into to position the second int, because that will start to have to be interesting. So the second int would be on the position line 0. So it's expecting the row here, row 0 and column 79. Compile it and run it outside. Okay, so this is working. We have the first int in this corner, the second int in the other corner, but now we can notice that we will have a problem if this integer is going to be of 2 digits, or the length will be more than 1. So if we have here, for example, 20, then running this program, so let's say somebody entered int 2 is 20, so now if we run this program, the 0 is chopped basically, so we only have 2. Let's put something here, let's put 55, let's say this. Compile it, run it again. The second 5 is missing. So that means we cannot put this 79 right at the end. We need to put it to 78 because now this one has 2 digits. So if we do this, this will work. So basically we need to figure out a way now to don't output it right at the end. We need to just shift it back to the left with the same number of characters that are in that integer. So we need to figure out basically the length of that integer. So the simplest way to do this is to transform it into a string basically, and then calculate the size of the length of that string. And we can offset then this put string get with that length of the string. So we can do this. We define a new string, int 2 as string, for example, is integer to string int 2, or we can simply just say empty string plus int 2. It's going to build a new string from that integer. So let's do now int 2 as string, because that's what we want to print out. And we don't want to print it out on the last line, but we want to offset it basically with the int 2 as string dot length. Right? So this one, for example, is 79. If int 2 has a length of 1, then we want 79 here. So actually we want to then offset it with 80 minus the length. So in this case we're going to have, let's see what happens, 55. Good. Now we can put other numbers here. 5,678, and there it is. It's fitting nicely right up to the edge of the terminal. Now the third integer is quite simple. We'll do it the same as int 1. Only we'll print it at the last line, which is 23, I believe. Let's test this. Yeah. So top left corner, top right corner, third integer is here. And the fourth integer will do it similar to int 2, because it's going to be aligned to the right. And the line will be 23, and the row will be 23, and the column, 4, the column will be 80 minus the length of that string. So let's do here 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there it is, the fourth number. Now there's one extra case here which could be interesting, to have a negative integer. That's just as fine, because if we put a negative integer here, when we transform it from integer to string, then the minus sign will be taken into consideration and the length of that string will become bigger by 1. So this should work just fine. Now this is one way of doing this problem. It's definitely easy, as I said, not much going on here, but this is just a good memory of mine since I was probably around my daughter's age and when I had this problem for the first time. So now this would be the actual solution, where we actually type in the 4 numbers and then the problem will just output them. The program will actually output them. So if we run this, now we are going to actually be asked for the inputs and just enter something. Let's do a minus. And this is the output. So that's it. Thank you for watching. If you think this video was useful, give it a like, consider subscribing so you don't miss out other videos. Bye for now, and I'll see you next time.